Alright guys, so I want to do a cool video. I've been wanting to do a video with Jim for a long time now. Jim is a longtime customer and friend of Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson, so we've had a lot of experiences with Jim over the past, and I appreciate him coming down and doing this video. But I wanted to do a video on what is the definition of a real biker. So there's a lot of chatter on the internet nowadays about people maybe hazing other riders because they aren't a real rider for whatever reason it may be. Maybe it's because they just bought a bike, they haven't been riding for a long time, or maybe they're not on a Harley-Davidson, or maybe they're not on what someone else deems as a real cruiser motorcycle, whatever it may be. But basically I wanted to save Jim for this topic because Jim, and I know a lot of riders out there, Jim is probably the most qualified to be a real biker of anybody I know, including my family members that have, we've been in this business for a really long time. So thanks again, Jim, for coming out. And yeah, first of all, I just want to introduce Jim and kind of talk about his background a little bit. So how long have you been riding, Jim? Tell us a little bit about your riding experience.
Well, I'll be 66 years old in a few days, March 10th, and I've been riding since I've been actually about 12 years old. And street riding ever since I've been 15 and a half. I got my learner's permit. In California, you could ride alone on a motorcycle. I don't know what the laws are now today, so I had a Honda 250 Scrambler back then, and that's where I started on the street.
Okay. So talk a little bit about like what bikes you've owned over the years. Obviously, you're a Harley guy, but what bikes you kind of owned over the years, and tell us about some of the Harleys you've owned as well.
Sure. I brought a list because I had word that you might be asking me this question, and I'm getting older, so I can't remember all the bikes, and I probably missed a couple of them here. But to list them, let's see. My first bike was a Honda 50. Then I went to a Honda 250 Scrambler, and then I punched it out to 338 cc's with a cam, and I could beat anybody at school on that, and my high school. Then I had a 1951 Harley-Davidson 68 or 65, I can't remember, I think it was 68 Sportster, 1988 Softail with 103-inch motor with nitrous, 87 Heritage, a 91 Heritage, 1995 Road King, 2000 Road King, 2004 Heritage Softail, 2003 Ultra Classic, 2007 Ultra Classic, 2009 Ultra Classic with TLE sidecar, 2014 Ultra Classic, 2015 CVO Street Glide, 2016 CVO Street Glide, which my wife owns, 2017 Road Glide, 2015 Street Glide, 2006 Street Glide, 2003 Ducati 999, 2004 Ducati 999S, and then today I brought out a 2005 Road King with a sidecar.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I might have missed a couple, but
that's all you can remember.
That's why I'm broke.
Awesome. So there's no question you have a long pedigree of motorcycles in your history and in ownership. Mm-hmm. I follow Jim on Facebook, and randomly I'll see his breakout in the front room, in his living room and things like that. So definitely live the biker lifestyle for sure.
And that is another bike that I have, a breakout.
You didn't bring that up, huh?
No.
So he probably has forgotten about more bikes that he's owned than most people have owned. Mm-hmm. So I noticed you said Ducati in there a couple times. So you have other motorcycles other than Harley-Davidsons?
Yes.
Okay.
Primarily Harley though.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What is it that kind of attracts you to Harley-Davidsons? Don't let me put words in your mouth here, but what attracts you to Harley-Davidsons more than maybe some of the other bikes?
Well, for me, I owned a Honda Scrambler, and it was cool. I mean, I liked it a lot, had a lot of fun with it. My friends in high school and stuff, we used to race a lot with it. And then my best friend at the time, his cousin had bought a Harley. It was right maybe a few months after Easy Rider came out, and so I went over there to give him a ride to go pick up his bike. So anyway, so we went over there and brought his cousin over to get the bike, and it was pretty much a copy of Dennis Hopper's bike in Easy Rider. And I remember when he started it up, he had to kickstart it, and I just thought, wow, because it was real mechanical, and I just stared at it for, I mean, it was just totally different than my Honda. And Honda was okay, don't get me wrong, it was a good bike and everything, but I just got enthralled by it, and so I ended up buying that bike. It cost me $1,000 in really good shape. It was a really nice bike, and peanut tank. all that, and drag bars. And I remember riding it, and it was as if you could feel the cylinders fire every time. Real super mechanical, and I just fell in love with it, you know. It was real fast for a bike back then, but that wasn't the main reason. It was just, I can't really explain, but it was just real mechanical. You know, I've jumped out of DC-3, skydiving and stuff, and those things are big radial motors, and I just, something attracts me to them. And I've always been attracted primarily to Harleys. And today they've been refined where you don't feel all that mechanical stuff as much, but the looks of the motor, the looks of the bike, I mean, I just love them. And there's some great bikes out there also, you know, Ducati, Honda, Yamaha, what have you, that are really great performance bikes, and I'm a fan of those as well. But Harley is just the one that I'm attracted to and I love. And I'm not trying to be a sales pitch here, but push the button and go. I mean, I don't even carry tools with me anymore. I haven't done that in years and years and years. And they just seem to be real reliable. And I don't know what more I can say about them, but I've had a great time in life with them.
Come on, babe. No.
I'll take care of her. Hold on. Somebody get that photo.
Hello.
Hold on. Oh my God.
He's not usually up like that.
That's hilarious.
Right there. I'll take care of her, babe. Right there, please.
Goggles time. Yes.
Tell these boys I'm not a girl. I'm a biker.
Oh.
We definitely established the fact that you've ridden for a long time. You've owned a lot of Harleys for a long time. Let's get into a little bit about your experiences out on the road. I mean, one of the things that I love about Jim, and I told him to wear this jacket specifically, is because he's documented a lot of his Sturgis trips, namely. Yeah. Talk a little bit about, I mean, how many times have you been to Sturgis?
Since 1994, and I think I've only missed 2001. And I ride out there every year. I ride the whole way. My wife used to ride out there for many years with me, and then we acquired some animals, our pets that are our family. And so we ended up purchasing a fifth wheel, and so she usually puts the sidecar bike, the 2005 Road King with the sidecar in it, and takes off with the animals and gets to Sturgis, and then I meet her there maybe a week later or so. And then I stay there as long as work permits. I'm an electrical contractor by trade, and so you're not a lawyer or a doctor, which is why you can afford the bikes. No. Yeah. Because everybody thinks you got to be a lawyer or a doctor nowadays to own Harleys. No, most of my friends, they got I don't know what's a regular job, but all walks of life, Yeah. And they're out there riding all the time, and I enjoy riding with them, and I still enjoy it today riding with them, and we have a good time, and. Yeah. And talk a little bit about, you talk about your animals as your family, which I'm super intrigued about, which you guys are in for a special treat. We're going to go on a ride with some of his animals here today, but talk a little bit about, let's talk about Banks, because Banks is going to be one of the stars of the video today. Talk a little bit about him. Her, excuse me. It's female. Banks is a 6-year-old potbelly pig. By the way, there's no such thing as teacup pigs. That's, they all get pretty big. When we purchased Banks, she was 5 pounds. She was like a little tiny thing. And now she's big. She's 240 plus pounds, And she likes to get on the bike. She's got a few thousand miles on the sidecar. Our dog loves riding, I think, much more. She wears her goggles or piggles or whatever my wife calls them. And so she enjoys the view for a while, but then she ends up putting her head down and just mellows out down below, and which is pretty good for a pig because pigs aren't too mellow, So anyway, but then the dog loves to go for as long as she can. One year, my wife brought Emma, our dog. She's 11 years old now, and rode her every mile all the way to Sturgis, South Dakota, all the way back. Wow. And how many miles is that round trip? Just under 1,500 miles, I think. It's about 3,000. Or just under 1,400, I forget which, yeah. So 1,400 we'll say. So that was like 2,800 miles, and she did it the whole way. She didn't,
Wow.
you know, and that was when she was younger. She's older now, so I don't think we would try and take her. In fact, nowadays when we take her for a ride, it's not really long rides, you know, because she's getting older. So,
I bet you get some attention with those animals. I've seen some pictures. So you have a hog in your hog, basically, and what's it like riding down Main Street with Banks in your sidecar?
Pretty much a riot. You know, people out there, maybe some have had a few beers or whatever, but they're all running out in front of it. You know, my wife's is the one that rides the dog most of the time. She's got about 63. Our dog's got 64,000 miles in a sidecar, and my wife has rode just about all of them with her.
Wow.
You know. She rides a sidecar a lot better than I do. But anyway, but yeah, people go crazy, you know, and then when you're on the freeway, even locally, people want to take a picture, and so it's kind of, in a sense, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of dangerous because they're trying to work their camera
and drive at the same time,
and then they end up, you know, going towards the sidecar, you know. So my wife has to watch out for that. But
very cool.
Yeah, we have a bird that we take with us to Sturgis.
Over the years, as you know, you've come in and stuff like that. You've told me about some pretty awesome, epic stories that were, you know, some of them funny, some of them just pure, simple, awesome. Well, tell us maybe one or two of your most notable stories of riding Harleys over the years.
Well, I think there'd be too many of them, but we were in the sidecar, the Road King, and we were in South Dakota, Sturgis, and we wanted to go to North Dakota, just for something to do that day. Well, on our way up there, it started raining. I mean, it rained. Back in the Dakotas and all that area, when it rains, it rains. Okay, it's like major rain, and it didn't let up. And it was raining so hard that I had to keep looking out the side of the windshield of the bike, barely see the line on the freeway, on the highway. And I don't know how fast we're going, not very fast. I remember that we got to the sign where it says "Welcome to North Dakota." Took a picture and jumped back on the bike and left, and the dog, you know, took it in the whole time, man, you know. Another time is when we're in South Dakota on a highway, I believe it's 90 or 91, the main drag from Sturgis to Rapid City. We left the dealership up there and we got on the highway, and my wife was in the sidecar with the dog, and I had just purchased a bike, a 2009 Ultra Classic from the dealership there. Couldn't buy a new one because they can't sell new bikes to California residents because of smog thing.
So you were just up there and you just on a whim just bought a bike at the dealership?
Yeah. So I bought this bike, and we're on the highway, 90 or whatever it was, going back towards Sturgis. Spearfish is actually 13 miles past Sturgis. That's where we're staying. But anyway, I'm looking down the highway and I just see this white cloud. And that white cloud was actually a hailstorm with 70-mile-an-hour winds. We didn't know it, you know, so we're just going, and all of a sudden it hit us, and that stuff hurts, you know. And we stopped, big rigs, everything, the whole highway, freeway, whatever they call them back there, just stopped. And I ended up falling off the bike. I was only going about 2 miles an hour, and because the wind blew me over, and my wife jumped on top of her dog and was trying to put her hands over her head, you know, because of the hail, you know, and that was really iffy. And then it ended up, I don't know, 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, it went by us and then went over to the dealership where they had this huge tent, right? And it put holes in the tent and blew some of that off, you know, big like circus tent, you know.
So when you're not riding motorcycles, what are some of the things that you enjoy doing? I've kind of known you to be kind of an adrenaline junkie over the years.
Okay, well, I've skydived before. I did that my first jump was September 1980, and I did that religiously for 10, 12 years, and then slowed up after that, which took a lot of my time from riding bikes away from me. But I was out there warming up the DC-3s, you know, skip work and run out there and do a sunset load, you know, and met a lot of really interesting people that are still jumping today, some of them, you know. And I was fortunate to be in a world record, first 120 way back in Quincy, Illinois.
I think by all criteria that anyone would ever say about what a real biker is, I think you check all the boxes, and I think it'd be very difficult for anyone to argue that you're not, quote unquote, a real biker. But I wanted to get kind of your definition, you know, someone who's been riding as long as you have, as many bikes as you have, the experience at you know, the largest rally in the world, Sturgis. What is your definition of a real biker?
Well, a real biker, first of all, on a personal basis, I don't really walk around thinking I'm a real biker. You know, I'm a person that loves bikes. two-wheel bikes. I see people out there on scooters, two wheels, a young girl or whatnot. If they love riding and they keep doing it a lot, if it's not just a once a month thing, if they're out there and they love it, they're a biker. It might sound funny to some people, but I never cater to that idea that when someone goes by in a rice rocket and they wave, that I don't wave. It's like, yeah, I understand.
So you're saying you wave to Honda people?
Absolutely. Always have. Even back in the day when it was not cool to do that,
Yeah.
But,
so you're saying that it's kind of changed over the years?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
maybe 20, 30 years ago, if you were on a Harley, maybe you didn't wave to a non-Harley?
Correct, and I didn't wave that much.
And you didn't
because I was trying to, I guess, fit in what I thought what you should do if you're riding a Harley.
Yeah.
But then after a while, after you get to know people, they're enthusiasts,
Yeah.
and that's what I like. And once in a while, someone, because most of my friends own a Harley, but once in a while someone's got a Honda. It's dope, it doesn't matter to me. I don't think it's indifferent. I use the word, I use manufacturer Honda, but it could be Yamaha, whatever.
Yeah.
BMW.
So it doesn't, I say this kind of jokingly because I think it's ridiculous myself that people kind of, I won't ride with the Suzuki or the Yamaha. So what you're saying is, day-to-day basis or the weekend when you go out on a ride, if your friends show up without a Harley, it's not even a question, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I just, life's too short to be in the, I'm cool because I ride a Harley or something, you know what I mean? I think anybody, I know a lot of people, not a lot, correction, I know a few people that have different manufacturers, ride different manufacturers of bikes, and to me, they're just as much of a biker as me, they just like riding. And my friends today, we go riding most every weekend, and it's basically go out and eat somewhere. When you're younger, I used to go out to ride to go look at where all the good-looking girls are, maybe, or whatnot. And now, as you get older, it's like we're all a good place to go eat. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we go do that a lot, and we just tell jokes and tell a few lies, and have a good time. And I'm always looking forward to like this weekend. I'm hoping to get out and ride.
So basically, in a nutshell, your definition of a real rider is what? Someone that gets out and just enjoys riding, or?
Correct. Exactly. Just someone that goes out, that loves to ride, loves motorcycles in general, and likes to get out on two wheels and do it, And that's what I think, I wouldn't say a biker, not a real biker, if I could use that terminology, would be someone that, has a bike that takes it out once, shines it all the time and then takes it out, once every 2 or 3 months for a little ride, I that's a biker, but I don't know about a real biker. I got to draw the line somewhere. So
Yeah.
I guess that
Yeah. There's always the videos out there that I see and the chatter on the internet about kind of the stigma that a lot of people perceive Harley-Davidson riders to be this like exclusive, egotistical type of a rider. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I'm sure there's some, but all the guys that I ride with, we don't care what you're riding, and so they're not out there acting like tough guys, They're just average guys, and they might look kind of rough, but they're from all walks of life,
Yeah.
They're either drug counselors or one guy works for a good friend of mine works for UPS, and so on and so forth. Another guy's another electrical contractor as well as me. My son rides, my granddaughter's thinking about riding, and it scares me.
Yeah.
So,
well, she's got a good teacher at least, right?
Yeah, and then another thing too, what I think a good rider is someone who doesn't ride fast and take chances. Because there's too many people, and I know I can name a few, or more accurately, a couple that are no longer with us. Because they could pull the wheel stands and they like to go in between cars at 80, 90 miles an hour, and they're no longer with us. And as I've gotten older, I used to do crazy stuff like that, and I don't do that anymore, especially if I have someone on the back of my bike, like my wife's on the back. I realize that I'm responsible for her life, and so I try and ride responsibly, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, respect the
Yeah,
bike,
yeah.
yeah. What would be your advice to someone who's young, perhaps, or maybe old, who knows it's just coming into the Harley-Davidson world, or is kind of an outsider looking in and kind of doing their research about, hey, is a Harley-Davidson and maybe that lifestyle, is it right for me? What advice would you give to a new rider, kind of getting into it?
Well, I don't know about the lifestyle part, but I would suggest, well, don't ride fast and take chances, start off with, of course, but maybe try and get together with someone else that you enjoy speaking to or hanging out with, and that shares the same kind of likes that you do, that ride bikes and go places on weekends or what have you. That's just a suggestion. Maybe they would approach it differently, but that's what I would say. And don't, whatever you do, don't be intimidated that there's some guy that's got a beard like me or whatever, that's got a big heavy Harley. It doesn't matter. I appreciate all that stuff. That they're riding.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. We're all share the same world, so to speak. Motorcycle world.
All hogs are welcome here.
Wait. There. Hey, Banks. Pinky, look over here. Watch. Banks. Can you sit? Say, no, I've done enough tricks for today. Oh! There you go, now she's good. That's all they need is that little bit of encouragement. Good. Banks, hey. Stay there. Good job. Put your head up. Pinky, I'm up here in the middle. Hold on. Stop. Banks, stop.
She's fine. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I just wanted to give a special thank you and shout out to Jim Chiapuzio and his wife Deborah for taking time out of their busy schedules to come down and allowing me to shoot this video and post it to YouTube. I really respect them and everything they do for the riding community.